since more people are playing this, I actually heard somebody somebody said that Infernos are the best deck. Whoo, y'all be reaching. But Infernos have gotten a bit more attention. So I'm gonna show you my deck list before I end up selling it. Infernos are simple as hell. Reasoning.dek. Well, if you draw it in, hopefully among the top card isn't one of the monsters that aren't Infernoids with that declared level, because that would suck. It's happened too many times for me. And I'll just be like, why do I even play you in here? And then there'll be those times where Reasoning mills like 12 Infernoids. You'd be like, yes, you dead, right? I haven't had nobody actually scoop to that, but they usually lose shortly after that. Infernoids are high risk, high reward. You could say that they kind of sort of sack like Lightsworn, but they're actually worse in my opinion. Because with Lightsworn, the main thing, I'm not saying this is the only threat, but the main thing you mill for is Judgment Dragon, Lumina. It's mainly Judgment Dragon that's like, oh god, here we go, this bullshit again, right? With Infernoids, you have a hell of a lot more Judgment Dragons to worry about. And because this is a Lightsworn deck that can play Reasoning and just forget all the Infernoids as if they never existed, and you just have enough in the grave, ideally, to summon some of these big fuckers. Now, Infernoids in general are greedy. They feed off each other, so they must have pretty big appetites. I feel that a pretty good number of the low level ones is 9. You could possibly go to 8, but I think that's pushing it. I go with 10 because I know that this deck is greedy, and I'm a pretty greedy player when it comes to certain things. I just don't want to banish any of these to summon any of these if I can help it. And of course, the low level ones, I feel they're kind of like speed bumps. Those are things that you just throw in front of your opponent's stuff before you summon the big one. So, as you can see, I only play Raiden and Card Trooper as my non-Infernoid milling monsters, and there's one particular reason why. It is because I can mill during my main phase. And Raiden is the most efficient. It mills, hopefully, 4 cards a turn. Card Trooper mills during the main phase and mills 3 cards. I'm not saying that playing Lumina, Lila, or even Aaron in the main deck is a terrible idea. I'm just not a fan of it because I want to have the ability to mill during my end phase so I can summon, hopefully, an Inferno to apply pressure to the opponent. I do not feel that this deck can give your opponent time to do anything. You want to summon a big motherfucker, apply pressure, hit him in the mouth, hopefully not too many times because the big ones have pretty decent effects, and there's a reason why I play 3 of these. These are the most effective ones. That's the way that I see this deck, and that is also a reason why I play Needlebug's Nest. I feel that you need to have multiple ways to mill, okay? And I also think with those extra Lightsworn monsters in other people's decks, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, you tend to make your reasonings worse if you have more than I would think necessary non-Infernoid monsters. Needlebug's Nest, yes, it's a card that does nothing, but in here, it searches your win conditions. And because I played Needlebug's Nest in the deck, I played Void Seer. I was playing 3 because I really liked the card, and also Breakthrough School because Winda, Shake it, Aga, Construct, those are cards. The side deck is not finalized, and since I don't play it anymore, I haven't really cared, but I think there are some pretty decent ideas here. So, of course, I play Lila in the side deck because charges at 2, you want to have enough things. You're playing against back row heavy, aka back row bitches. You want to have multiple ways outside of the obvious MST to blow up your opponent's stuff, and it mills, which is kind of sort of nice. You would usually just take out Card Trooper for Lila. It does make your reasonings worse, but Lila just gets rid of the spell and trap, which is most important, especially if your opponent goes first, assuming that you beat their ass in the first game. Aaron is a concession to the Djinn lock. The bitch just kicks the Djinn power Clausulus back into the deck. If you about that Galaxy Cyclone money, or if you just happen to pull them out of a pack or something, lucky you can play them. You could actually play them in the main deck, and they do make some matchups easier to deal with. But I do not think that MST should be replaced. If you're not about that Book of Eclipse money, you can also just play Darkhold. And roll decrees just overall say fuck traps. And I don't really particularly care about Needlebug's Nest getting negated. The worst come to worst, you can really just patrol your own roll decree. That's assuming that you draw it and it actually does something against your opponent. As far as the extra deck, for most of the slots, you can do what you want to. Because I play Raiden in level 1, I play in Archimedes, it's like the best level 5. Generic. Level 5. As far as level 6 is all concerned, I like Psyhemoth because it takes the monster away along with itself, so it helps me be able to summon Infernoids. Scrap Archfiend is the more important level 7 synchro, just because it allows you to continue summoning Infernoids. The Infernoids say something about effect monsters. Scrap Archfiend has no effect, but since it's not a normal monster, it's considered a non-effect monster. You could kind of say the same thing with Gemini Pearl, so you could play Gemini Pearl as well in the deck. So, like I said, you have some space, but certain things I do feel that are somewhat necessary. Because you have level 8s, and you're probably playing 3 or 2 or whatever, I don't know your configuration, you want to have at least one rank 8. Same with level 7s. You want to have at least one rank 7. You want to have some rank 4s just because they're commonly used and they're generally good. You know, Dweller's pretty good, Rhapsody's pretty decent, Exciton, of course, amazing shit, and Castellan maybe an Arc. You can play Cowboy if you want. It's a whole lot of versatility, but not really. This deck is pretty damn simple. You kind of sort of sign an unwritten agreement to deal with the bullshit that this deck has to offer, good and or bad. I think the only complicated thing about the deck is just understanding that most of the cards in your deck you're more likely going to mill, and you want to have enough cards that let you mill, and you just got to figure out the balance with that. Of course, I'd like to thank everybody for watching. It is very much appreciated. If you would like to support little old me, not asking for money, just asking for a little bit of your time, literally seconds, to click an advertisement. It seems like a very little bit to some of you, but it actually does help. By you doing that, it actually allows me to live some sort of life by primarily doing these videos. And I wouldn't feel so comfortable with asking for your money. And I'll be grateful and appreciative, which is why I say it at the end of every video. But I feel that it is necessary to say because some people tend to take that for granted. I do appreciate it if you could find some time to help me out. And of course, thank you for watching. In like a few days, if somebody really gave a shit, I'll play some games with this deck in case y'all wanted to see it in action or something.